For years, we work towards a goal that gives us something of comfort and security in our later life. And that means that we buy the house. And we start off on the bottom rung of the property ladder, and we build ourselves up. And eventually we end up with our family home that we enjoy, and we fill with memories, and we fill with the accumulation of items that are a life well lived. And when we think about our retirement and we're working towards finishing work, one of the things that we're really keen on doing is making sure that we are mortgage free. But that leaves me with a question, and certainly one that I thought about for quite some time, and that is, by owning this house, this forever home, this family home, is that meaning that we are asset rich but actually cash flow poor? Because by paying off the mortgage, what we do have is this lump of something that is worth a lot of money, usually into the hundreds of thousands of pounds, but we can't do anything with it except live in it. And actually, the benefit of that asset will be realised by our family when we're no longer here. So therefore, is it actually keeping us stuck in a lifestyle that we have ended up with? Or do we actually want to do something with it to enable us to have a different kind of lifestyle once we have retired? And that was a question that went round and round and round in my head for quite a period of time. And it sort of started in my 40s and it moved into my 50s. And we already sort of downsized to release some capital and to help support our family when we moved from Surrey to South Wales. And so really the question that I was left with was what options do we have to make the most of this asset that we have built? And so really you have a few choices. You can either borrow against it or keep a mortgage, one that you can afford each month in retirement, or perhaps sell it and buy something smaller. You could potentially rent out some of the rooms if you have a large home and you no longer need all of the rooms in the house. So you could Airbnb it, for example, or you could maybe combine your family and have everybody in the house together, and then have something like we did, which was buy a property abroad and actually split our time. So there are different options that you have, but the reason I'm really talking about this on this video is to get you to think about, what are your options? What do you want your forever home to do for you in retirement? Because let's face it, there are other questions that you need to ask yourself, and that is the house going to get too big for me at some point? Am I going to be able to manage the stairs? Am I going to have lots of empty rooms that need to be cleaned and maintained? Am I going to be maintaining a huge house at the expense of my retirement enjoyment? So the question is your home representing security for you? Or is it actually limiting your freedom? And what do you want to do about that? Because that was a real realization for me. And once I started to think differently about housing, it opened up a whole other set of options for me, and actually made me feel that I had more freedom than less. Because I didn't think about my house as simply a home. I started looking at it as part of a housing strategy and what that meant for my long-term future. So, do you see your home as your security, or do you see it as part of your longer life strategy? And are you starting to think about how you could live differently? So if you've enjoyed this thoughtful conversation, then perhaps you'd like to join me on my journey as I talk about my midlife reset and how I started to look at life differently as I moved into early retirement and thinking about what that means as I move into later life. I'm Angela. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.